So you've probably heard that the world of AI is in the middle of a massive gold rush, right? I mean, we're talking about a flood of money so huge it's actually changing the global economy. But if you look just a little bit closer at the numbers, something really weird is going on. A puzzle that makes you wonder, does any of this actually make financial sense?
And yeah, that puzzle really boils down to this one kind of crazy question. Are some of the smartest investors on the planet just lighting their money on fire? I know, it sounds ridiculous, but when you see the basic math behind this AI boom, it's so strange you just have to ask.
And we're not talking about a small amount of cash here. Look at this number, $700 billion. To give you some perspective, that's more than the entire GDP of a lot of countries. It's one of the biggest, fastest movements of money in modern history, and it's all pointed at one single thing, AI.
Okay, so let's start with that bonfire, shall we? To really get why this is such a puzzle, we need to look at the simple, almost brutal math that these huge investments seem to be, well, completely ignoring.
So at the core of all this is something called cash burn, and it's exactly what it sounds like. The top AI companies are just burning through money way, way faster than they're bringing any in. They're constantly chasing more funding just to keep the lights on, or, keep their servers running. In pretty much any other industry, this would be a code red 5-alarm fire.
But here's the thing, that massive cash burn, that's only half the story. The other half is what makes this so wild, because even with all that money they're spending, any real competitive edge they get, it just seems to vanish almost as fast as the cash does.
So this is the fundamental problem, right? On one hand, you've got this furnace that's just incinerating cash. On the other hand, you have this crazy race where any lead you get is gone in a flash. A huge breakthrough today is just a standard feature on your competitor's product tomorrow. So you have to ask, why spend billions just to run in place on a treadmill? From the outside, it looks like a total recipe for disaster.
And that brings us right to the main point. The people pouring money into this, they aren't dumb, they get risk, they get competition. So what are we all missing? What's the secret logic they're seeing that we aren't?
Well, the answer, it turns out, is a whole different kind of thinking. A really radical logic. It's a high-stakes bet that basically takes the normal business rulebook and just throws it out the window. And it's all for a shot at a prize so unbelievably big, it's hard to even wrap your head around.
They call it the moonshot bet. And the idea is pretty wild. You pour tons of money into things that are almost guaranteed to fail. But if just one of them hits it big, the payout is so massive, so astronomical, that it covers all the other losses and then some. You're not playing for a safe 10% return, you're literally hunting for a unicorn.
And this right here is the absolute key. You've got to stop thinking about this like a normal investment, because it's not. What these investors are really buying is a lottery ticket. A really, really expensive lottery ticket, sure, but one with a jackpot that could change, well, everything.
And believe it or not, there's a kind of math that makes this whole crazy thing make sense. Investors figured there's maybe a tiny 1 in 1,000 chance of hitting the ultimate prize, creating what they call superintelligence. An AI that's smarter than humans at everything. But, and this is the big but, if they do hit that jackpot, the payout isn't just double your money. We're talking a 10,000 to 1 return. Suddenly, with odds like that, the gamble doesn't seem so irrational anymore. It's actually a pretty logical bet.
But wait, it gets even smarter, because this isn't just some all-or-nothing, go big or go home kind of bet. Nope. There's actually a pretty solid backup plan hidden here, one that makes this whole thing way less risky than it looks on the surface.
So think of it like this. There are two possible outcomes. You've got path A, that's the jackpot, right? Achieving superintelligence. The odds are super long, but the prize changes the world. Then you've got path B, the backup plan. And this is where even if they fail to create a superbrain, they'll almost certainly have built an incredibly valuable, normal software company. Like a massive cloud service or the best AI tools for businesses. The chances of that happening are really high, and the payout is still fantastic. So yeah, they're shooting for the moon, but they've built a really comfy safety net to land on.
And that is the heart of the whole strategy. The backup plan alone makes it a pretty good investment, but it's that teeny, tiny chance of hitting the jackpot that turns it from a good investment into a potentially historic one. That's what justifies the billion-dollar bonfire we were talking about. It's the kind of bet where even the consolation prize is a massive win.
Okay, so a high-stakes game played by venture capitalists. Why should you or I care? Well, because this whole bet isn't happening in some isolated bubble. The consequences are already shaping our technology, our jobs, our whole future.
You can see the ripple effects pretty clearly. All this money creates this frantic race, and that race is pushing innovation forward at a speed we have literally never seen before. And here's the most important part for us. It doesn't even matter if anyone ever hits that super intelligence jackpot. The stuff being built along the way, the tools, the apps, the platforms, that's what's going to define technology for the next decade. This is why the AI assistant on your phone keeps getting smarter, why doctors can diagnose diseases faster, and why all that creative software is getting so powerful.
So when you get right down to it, this whole $700 billion question, it was never really just about the money or the spreadsheets. It's about something way bigger. It's about deliberately funding a technological revolution on a massive scale. It's a global bet that the future isn't something that just happens. It's something you can build. And this is the price of admission.
Which leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. Because it doesn't matter if you think this gamble is reckless or if you think it's visionary, the fact is it's happening right now. Our collective future is being built on the outcome of this giant lottery. So what does it mean for all of us when the world of tomorrow is being designed by the winners of the biggest bet in history?